Sinestro, widely known as the arch-rival to Green Lantern Hal Jordan, is my all-time favorite comic book character. When you take into account his unique dynamic with Hal, his intriguing backstory, and his notable accomplishments, he is quite the complex villain. Today, I'll be taking a look at the top 10 versions of Sinestro outside of the original comics. But first, some honorable mentions. Smallville. Sinestro never made an official appearance in Smallville, the fan-favorite 10-season Superman show, but he did briefly appear in the comics that continued the lore of the series. His character was never really explored, but he seemed like he had a lot of potential. Teen Titans Go! Sinestro appears in a crowd of villains in the hit Cartoon Network series, but just like in Smallville, his character was never really explored beyond that single appearance. Had he played a bigger role in the series, he surely would have been a comical foe. DC Legends. In the mobile game DC Legends, which is loosely based on several Green Lantern story arcs, Sinestro is actually a main character, and he's playable as both a Yellow Lantern and a White Lantern, which makes him deserve the final honorable mention. Now, for the actual list. The top 10 versions of Sinestro. Number 10. Super Friends.
Getting captured on purpose was a brilliant idea, Bizarro, and my power ring is set to go off just about now.
This version of Sinestro was a recurring character in the old kids cartoon. He was depicted in his classic costume, as the concept of Yellow Lanterns had not yet come into existence. This was a simple show, so he obviously was not a multi-layered villain, which is why he ranks 10th on the list. Number 9. The Batman. The Sinestro that appeared in this series was also just a simple villain with no complex qualities, but his design and his dialogue were certainly cooler. Number 8. Lego.
Welcome to your defeat, Justice League. Defeat at the hands of the Legion of Doom.
Sinestro appeared in the Lego DC movie titled Lego Justice League Attack of the Legion of Doom. He was mostly used as a tool for comedy, but he did wear the iconic Yellow Lantern uniform, which was awesome, and the animation in this movie was very enjoyable. Plus, he was voiced by Mark Hamill, which makes his character even better. Sinestro also played a big role in the game Lego Batman Beyond Gotham, which was very lantern-centered. Both of these Lego incarnations combined make it to number 8 on the list. Number 7. The DC Animated Universe. The series of animated TV shows and movies that make up what fans call the DC Animated Universe is home to many epic versions of many different characters. This version of Sinestro is pretty decent in my opinion. He first appears in Superman the Animated Series. His backstory is explained fairly well for the first time, and although he is not shown to be as powerful as he truly is in the comics, he is shown to possess an abundance of will, which is accurate since he was once a Green Lantern. Number 6. Batman, the Brave and the Bold.
You're supposed to be protecting the Earth.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I have no intention of allowing Despero to take control of the universe, and I refuse to leave its fate in the hands of incompetent fools like you and North.
Much like the DC Animated Universe Sinestro, this version of the character ranks above others because it actually explores Sinestro's backstory. It shows him in his early stages of villainy as he plots to betray the Green Lantern Corps. It would have been cool to see him actually craft the Yellow Ring and become a Yellow Lantern, but seeing his transition from hero to villain was cool enough. Sinestro is described as wanting to impose order on a chaotic, meaningless universe, and that is a perfect summary of Sinestro's greatest drive. Number 5. Justice League Action. Sinestro is shown as a Yellow Lantern in an episode of the latest animated Justice League series. The design of his uniform is not perfectly accurate, but it fits well with the overall design of the show. He has grown extremely powerful with the help of Despotellis. This marks the first ever television appearance of Despotellis, Sinestro's right-hand man who is a microscopic Yellow Lantern dwelling inside Sinestro's ring. Sinestro's constructs are a bit obscure in this episode, but this version of the character is certainly one of the better ones. Number 4. The Green Lantern movie from 2011. This movie gets a ton of hate. I think some of the hate is undeserved, as the plot was well structured and the effects were pretty good. It was cool seeing many of my favorite characters come to life on the big screen and seeing iconic places like Oa. I just dislike how certain aspects of the story were handled. Parallax and Krona were combined into one villain, while they are in fact separate characters. Parallax looked nothing like he did in the comics. Kilowog looked cool, but he could have been much more comic accurate, and the dynamic between Hal and Sinestro could and should have been much better. My favorite part of their relationship in the comics is that they were friends who turned arch enemies, but still maintained respect and admiration for each other, and sometimes are even still considered friends. The movie unfortunately lacked that factor, but otherwise Sinestro's character was spot on. Aside from a random scar on his face, they got his features pretty much perfect. He was played by Mark Strong, who has an excellent voice for the character, and was also passionate about portraying him correctly. Throughout the entire movie, he is shown slowly turning towards the side of evil and fear, which is done very well in my opinion, and in the post-credit scene, we actually get to see him become a Yellow Lantern, which is epic. Number 3. Green Lantern First Flight. This movie has a near-perfect representation of Sinestro. The voice and the personality are spot on, and the friendship with Hal is actually somewhat present. At the end of the film, he becomes a Yellow Lantern and has an amazingly epic battle with Hal Jordan. This is basically an animated version of Sinestro's origin. He kills many Green Lanterns and is portrayed as the extremely powerful being that he truly is. This version is very accurate, and thanks to the follow-up movie, Green Lantern Emerald Knights, we get to see a prophecy showing Sinestro forming the Yellow Lantern Corps. Number 2. Green Lantern the Animated Series. Sinestro only appeared in one episode of Green Lantern the Animated Series, but his character was handled amazingly. The way he behaves in that episode is very accurate to the comics, and his design is nearly perfect. Had the show continued, we would have seen him as a Yellow Lantern, which just might have been the perfect Sinestro in my eyes. Number 1. Injustice. In the game Injustice Gods Among Us, Sinestro's character has an awesome design. He creates the same type of constructs that Sinestro would create in the comics, and in his character ending, he becomes a White Lantern, which is absolutely epic. The game alone does not qualify him to be so high up on this list, however. The Injustice comics are what do that. They dive into his backstory and show him as a merciless villain. He kills several main characters in the series and has a high number of totally boss moments. This is the Sinestro we deserve. He is essentially what the real Sinestro would be like if DC didn't have to worry about keeping its main characters alive. The actual comic book version of Sinestro is, and probably always will be, my favorite. Nothing can compare to the years of story building this character has had in the Green Lantern comics. So what about you guys? Do you agree with my list? Which version of Sinestro would you say is the best? Comment down below. Thanks for watching, be sure to check out my other movies, and I'll see you in my next video.